Coming to CBC TV starting Wednesday, September the 3rd at 1 p.m.
Let's talk about it with Pastor Pauline. So we have been discussing foundations upon which most of the
Wednesday afternoon, the day that the Lord has made, so that we can all rejoice and be glad in it. Welcome to Let's Talk About It with me, Pastor Pauline. Yeah, I am so excited today, very, very excited. You know, it being a Wednesday, and you know what happens on Wednesday mostly? It's Women's Wednesday. And you know, I love women. If you know me, you know that I love women. And today we are discussing something that is pertaining to women. It's a hard talk, so to say. It's a hard talk, and we'll be tackling something that would be classified as a tough topic or tough topics, because it's not just one. So we'll be sampling. We'll be touching here and there, but all in all, it's issues that affect women. So we are talking about where is the safe place for a woman when she's going through issues, when she's going through shame, when she's going through pain, when she's going through loss and brokenness, abuse. You know, mostly, especially in our culture, a lot of women in abusive relationships. And irregardless of their positions in society, at work, or even in their families, most of them, it's just that a lot are afraid to come out. Maybe it's a pastor. I have seen personally pastors who are in abusive relationships, but you know, when they look at the flock, they can't go to the flock to go and to open up. But you know, the saddest thing is that when it comes to mental health, it has no respect of title or what. So you find, whether you're a pastor, you are a president, you are a minister, you are a whatever you are, mental health will still catch up with you. We've heard of ministers who will abuse alcohol, and you'll be condemning them. Oh, she drinks like she's not a civic leader, or like she's not in a position of decision making. Why is she drinking and whatnot? You don't know what they're going through, and so they will fail to come out and talk about those things. And the other thing that we'll be looking at is parenting. Parenting is also another thing which, you know, people rarely talk about the downside of parenting. So you're a parent out there. You may not have your own children, your own, but of women, a lot of women in abusive relationships. And irregardless of their positions in society, at work, or even in their families, most of them, it's just that a lot are afraid to come out. Maybe it's a pastor. I have seen personally pastors who are in abusive relationships, but you know, when they look at the flock, they can't go to the flock to go and to open up. But you know, the saddest thing is that when it comes to mental health, it has no respect of title or what. So you find, whether you're a pastor, you are a president, you are a minister, you are a whatever you are, mental health will still catch up with you. We've heard of ministers who will abuse alcohol, and you'll be condemning them. Oh, she drinks like she's not a civic leader, or like she's not in a position of decision making. Why is she drinking and whatnot? You don't know what they're going through, and so they will fail to come out and talk about those things. And the other thing that we'll be looking at is parenting. Parenting is also another thing which, you know, people rarely talk about the downside of parenting. So you're a parent out there. You may not have your own children, your own biological children, but you can parent your siblings. You can parent, you know, someone's child. There are other issues about parenting which we rarely talk about, because we feel like, no, bazani wana bwanji kutini kamba bali hivi vasona. So, but you know, there's need for us to talk about that. So I have wonderful women in the studio today, very beautiful women. First, I will introduce them, very, very beautiful women, and I feel so humbled that, you know, they have joined us on the show today. So I am going to introduce, in fact, help me. I did not introduce myself. Look at the excitement. I'm forgetting to introduce myself. So my name is Pauline, Pastor Pauline, and my guests are Jacqueline Mankanda and Agnes Ngoma. Welcome to the program, beautiful ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, so welcome. You're not saying hi to the viewers.
Our viewers out there,
Hi,
super excited
viewers.
to be here.
Sure.
Okay, so the program that the topics that we have today, and these topics, sometimes we have seen people go through issues. Sometimes we've experienced certain things. And, like the saying, I think I'd given an example to say, about, give an example of HIV AIDS. If you're not infected, you are affected.
Right.
So when your younger sister or when your brother or whoever someone close to you is going through a certain issue, you are also affected. So that's why we are here to help a woman out there who is going through pain, rejection, and all these other issues that women face on a day-to-day basis, but they are not talking. But shipikisha now we can't feel you can't even talk at no, you can't wash dirty linen in public, you can't do what, but all freedom cuts, and these days mental health, it's just something else. So I just want to both of you share your experiences,
Right.
or your what you have witnessed. Your witness. But what you have witnessed, in line with what we have talked about. It could be parenting, it could be maybe an abusive boss, it could be, challenges with siblings, or any kind of pain, because even loss, that is also pain. And we rarely come out and talk about that. So any experience in those lines? I'll start with you, Jacqueline.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, like I said, it's a joy to be here, to share some experience, one of the experiences. You can imagine I've lived a certain number of years. I always like to joke that my age is now officially a fire hazard. If I were to put candles on the cake. I had a bout of cerebral malaria, which presented with an acute confusional state. So as you can imagine, cerebral malaria in itself is not one of those conditions that historically were easy to treat. I don't even know whether there are any cases anymore, because medicine has advanced, and healthcare is at its best. But that was my experience. And as a consequence of that bout of malaria, my mind was not really where it was meant to be. So I began to experience panic attacks and just certain levels of stress that I could not cope with so well. I did receive the treatment that I needed, but the process of healing and recovery was very long. And you can imagine, this is 6 months into the gap year. The following year, you're supposed to report to university, and which I did, because there was a certain level of recovery, and I reported for university. Within months, the university closed. There were those issues is related to loss of a dream, right? Looking back as I was growing, I considered myself, I think, a top performer in my class. And all the plans about my future were well laid. So this incidents that I want to share happened in my gap year. So high school or secondary school was done, my results were out, super excited and getting ready to head off to university. Good results for me. Yeah, very, very good results. And so my future seemed very, very bright, where you have progressed through school without any issues. You're a top performer, like I said, in class, ambitious, and everything just seems to be going in a particular direction. But 6 months into my gap year, I had an experience where I had a bout of cerebral malaria, which presented with an acute confusional state. So as you can imagine, cerebral malaria in itself is not one of those conditions that historically were easy to treat. I don't even know whether there are any cases anymore because medicine has advanced and healthcare is at its best. But that was my experience. And as a consequence of that bout of malaria, my mind was not really where it was meant to be. So I began to experience panic attacks and just certain levels of stress that I could not cope with so well. I did receive the treatment that I needed, but the process of healing and recovery was very long. And you can imagine, this is 6 months into the gap year. The following year, you're supposed to report to university, and which I did, because there was a certain level of recovery, and I reported for university. Within months, the university closed of what can happen in life. Even as a young woman or an older woman, or whatever stage you are in life, you may have the best laid plans, and then there is this sudden change. But I am thankful, and I am so grateful that God has been able to rebuild, and it's a joy to be able to share what that process has been like.
Thank you so much for that inspiring story, that touching story, and I would just like us to take a short break, and we will be right back.
Relationships are built.
Join us as we tackle the toughest social issues affecting our community, from child marriages to youth empowerment, and from gender-based violence to women empowerment, from governance to corruption, and, of course, women participation in politics, and other male-dominated industries. We will be discussing it all.
Leah, confessed it in Genesis chapter 29, verse 32. She says, God has opened my womb because he has seen my affliction. But despite that, Jacob did not love her.
Our presenter will guide the conversation, ensuring that you have a respectful and thought-provoking discussion. And you have a chance to join in on the conversation through our phone-in segment. Call us live, share your thoughts, and ask your questions. Don't miss out on this opportunity to be part of the conversation. Let's talk about it. Every Wednesday at 1 p.m. on CBC TV. Don't miss. Get ready for the most anticipated talk show of the year. Let's Talk About It is coming to CBC TV starting Wednesday, September the 3rd at 1 p.m.
Let's talk about it with Pastor Pauline. So we have been discussing foundations upon which most of the relationships are built.
Join us as we tackle the toughest social issues affecting our community, from child marriages to youth empowerment, and from gender-based violence to women empowerment, from governance to corruption, and, of course, women participation in politics, and other male-dominated industries. We will be discussing it all.
Leah, confessed it in Genesis chapter 29, verse 32. She says, God has opened my womb because he has seen my affliction. But despite that, Jacob did not love her.
Our presenter will guide the conversation, ensuring that you have a respectful and thought-provoking discussion. And you have a chance to join in on the conversation through our phone-in segment. Call us live, share your thoughts, and ask your questions. Don't miss out on this opportunity to be part of the conversation. Let's talk about it. Every Wednesday at 1 p.m. on CBC TV. Don't miss. From governance to corruption, and, of course, women participation in politics, and other male-dominated industries. We will be discussing it all.
Leah, confessed it in Genesis chapter 29, verse 32. She says, God has opened my womb because he has seen my affliction. But despite that, Jacob did not love her.
Our Our presenter will guide the conversation, ensuring that you have a respectful and thought-provoking discussion. And you have a chance to join in on the conversation through our phone-in segment. Call us live, share your thoughts, and ask your questions. Don't miss out on this opportunity to be part of the conversation. Let's talk about it. Every Wednesday at 1 p.m. on CBC TV. Don't miss. Get ready for the most anticipated talk show of the year. Let's Talk About It is coming to CBC TV starting Wednesday, September the 3rd at 1 p.m.
Let's talk about it with Pastor Pauline. So we have been discussing foundations upon which most of the relationships are built.
Join us as we tackle the toughest social issues affecting our community, from child marriages to youth empowerment, and from gender-based violence to women empowerment, from governance to corruption, and, of course, women participation in politics, and other male-dominated industries. We will be discussing it all.
Leah, confessed it in Genesis chapter 29, verse 32. She says, God has opened my womb because he has seen my affliction. But despite that, Jacob did not love her.
Our presenter will guide the conversation, ensuring that you have a respectful and thought-provoking discussion. And you have a chance to join in on the conversation through our phone-in segment. Call us live, share your thoughts, and ask your questions. Don't miss out on this opportunity to be part of the conversation.
Welcome back, and in case you're just joining us, you're watching Let's Talk About It with me, Pastor Pauline, and the topic of discussion is, where is the safe place for a woman when she's going through loss, rejection, pain, parenting, the challenges of parenting? Maybe you are dealing with an abusive boss, or you are being faced with, maybe it could be sickness or any other challenge as a woman. Where is your safe place? Where do you open up? Mostly women would bottle things up and not talk about it. But today we are talking about that, and I have got two guests with me who happen to be Jacqueline Mankanda and Agnes Ngoma. Jacqueline has just given us her experience in life, and if you've listened to what she has said, I know that you now feel that there is hope. You can rebuild. You can lose a dream, or sometimes you plan your life. Like someone told me to say, you script your life, but somewhere along the way something happens, because as we plan our lives, there's no one who plans for sickness. There's no one who plans for, some people have gone through sickness where they've even lost some body parts. They did not plan for that. So you find that when certain things like that happen to them, those are people who just give up on life, and they just choose. Others will take their own lives, and then others will just plunge into depression and they just give up on life. They die. But we thank God that we have a living example, and we have a testimony which is very, very powerful from Jacqueline Mankanda. And so feel free to send your messages, and if it's a question you'd like to participate, you can send a message on the Facebook page, and there are some numbers which are scrolling on the screen. And now I would like us to hear Agnes talk. Because she has something to share with us, and as we talk, please listen and get what you can. Over to you, Agnes.
Thank you very much,
You're so
Pauline.
welcome. You're so welcome.
I'm so glad to be here, and I couldn't help it get emotional whilst Jacqueline was sharing her experience about school. I mean, we all have that dream about school, yes, and we've laid down can I say a dream of how a goal of how everything should move at each particular stage. But guess what? It doesn't always go as planned, but we'll still somehow you still bounce back, and you'll feel like, oh, I think that what I went through was actually worth
Can send
2 under 5s.
2 under 5, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So as I recount the journey to motherhood, you can attest that it's a time when you're so excited. Yes, you're just looking forward to meeting your little one. Yes, and a few complications here and there. Yes, but you're just hopeful and you have faith in God that surely what God has started, He'll bring to completion. I'll meet this little one. Yes, but what we don't really focus on is the changes that come with motherhood. It's at times it's a lot to take in. I remember after my baby was born, the baby would wake up at in the night, the whole night actually. Yes, and my grandma was there, my mom was there. I had a whole support system.
Yeah.
Yes, a whole community.
Yes.
Yes, so my grandmother would be there like trying to tell me to say, no, you rest, you need the rest. But I'll be there trying to say, no, this is my child, like this baby has to be with me. Yes. So without realizing it, you're actually falling into postpartum depression. Yeah. So I moved to my hometown, yes, with my husband, and I had a house help, but I wouldn't let anyone touch my baby or help. Yes, I would stay with the baby. If my husband is not around, I have to take care of the baby myself. Yes, but I'll encourage a young mom out there, if you have help, please get all the rest that you can, because it will be affecting not only you, but also your marriage and also your relationship with your child. Yes, because you notice that you begin to have outbursts because of
lack of rest.
Yes, lack of rest. You're not getting enough rest. Yes, imagine I'm unwell. I'm still in the 6 weeks, but I'll still go with the baby to the hospital because I don't want to leave the child with the house help. Yes, it was bad, and I think it went on, and I'll always carry the baby with me to the hospital, and the dad will be there holding the baby, trying to look at me all those things. Yes, and all I can say is he's been there and he has been so supportive. Yes, and maybe something that happened recently on my second born. My first child is now in school. So I was calling home and my nanny was not picking the phone, and all of a sudden I panicked. I literally panicked, and I just told my boss to say, I need to grab something for breakfast or
Can't you see back home?
I hope my boss is not watching but yes, and I dashed home, and the surprising thing was my baby was okay, the nanny was okay, only that her phone had not charged because of lack of power.
Wow.
Yes, so maybe we do need to have to gauge trust. Yes, to gauge some trust, and also try to, if you're looking for a nanny, try to get maybe a recommendation from someone. And what I noticed is they also don't feel good when you just barge in like that. Yes, because I could tell the room to say she felt like she was not trustworthy, and I did not trust her enough. Yes, but we did talk it out, and so as the show progresses, I'm sure we'll look at how we can turn to that safe place and just let the community come in and help us as we do this motherhood journey or the career journey, just everything in particular as pertaining to us women. Yes.
Awesome.
Thank you.
These are beautiful stories, and if you are watching, I know that you are getting not only one or two things, but I hope that you are getting everything. I love what Agnes is saying, to say, there is somewhere we can turn to. And, there's the story of a lady called Deborah in the Bible, in Judges, I think, 5:7, where she says, village life ceased until I arose, a mother in Israel.
Right.
And I have seen that mostly we do not have mentors. So we can be mothered, you are a mother, and then you are mothering mothers.
Oh, yes.
And that's in every field. in career, in parenting, because there's someone who has gone ahead of you. Everything under the sun, the Bible says, it has been experienced before.
Right.
But sometimes we just don't know. And we choose, like Agnes was, this is my baby. I want to keep my baby. I want to sleep with my baby. You know that your grandma knew, your mom knew. That's why they came. That's why they came. And, so both of you have had your share of experiences where you have, and, I just now wanted, I know for you, you briefly talked about, where there was your mom and you've had nannies to help. And now, maybe if we could just go in deep where you found safety and comfort. Because it's not like when you fell sick and then now you were okay, like everything was okay.
Yeah.
You were in so much, okay, of course you were like, of course in denial, then frustration.
Yeah.
And sometimes we look at our friends like, we were in the same class and they've gone ahead and then this, so all those, all those emotions.
Right.
So where did you find comfort?
So for me, it's been a great joy that I had a very strong support system within the family.
Awesome.
So family in the sense of obviously my immediate family, my mother, my father, my sisters, cousins, and so on. But family also extended, meaning the church. Family extended, meaning friends. And you are right, it's not the sort of process that you recover from very, very quickly. And it's difficult to understand because a situation like that forced me to pause for longer than I had planned or anticipated. So there's a lot of impatience, there's a lot of confusion, there's denial, right? And there's also an element of not really knowing how things will turn out. You're very insecure. And for me, I remember part of the healing process was also just learning to do simple things like how to just walk, putting one foot ahead of the other, right? Because you'd have spent your time sleeping because you are medicated and so on. So trying to bounce back from that experience wasn't easy, but I'm really, really thankful that my family was there and my friends were there and people that I knew in community through the church were there. So it made it easy at a certain point to be able to join fellowship again, because some of the condemnation isn't so much based on people's comments and what they say to you. A lot of it is internal conversations. You begin to think, what will my life look like now? Will I make progression? Will I be able to catch up? Because we, as human beings, we're always comparing ourselves to our friends. If you are planning to start a family, you start comparing yourself to your friends who are married ahead of you, and you begin to think, will anyone accept me the way that I am? Will I ever have a family of my own? But those are things that God has given me the joy to experience, regardless of whatever it is that I went through. Being able to build up and being able to bounce back and still make a bright path, regardless of it not being what I may have dreamt it to be in the original plan.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Agnes, the way you found, like, apart from but I think that is enough, isn't it? Mother, grandmother, what a blessing.
It is enough, yes. But growing up, I always wanted to keep to myself. Yes, and being the firstborn as well, you feel like you burden your parents. If at all you have a challenge, you need to. So you just try to figure out things on your own. But I can attest that that is not a good path. Yes, you'll find that your parents are actually willing to walk through the journey of life with you, to guide you when necessary. And whenever you face a challenge, they're actually right there, willing to help you. So I can share something. My baby was unwell, and I called on Mom. She and Dad actually drove to my place and took us to the hospital. Yes, so it is okay to actually pick the phone and call for help. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so encouraging, and truly, what you've talked about. It's not only the firstborn.
Yeah.
Yes, it's not only the firstborn
No.
syndrome. A lot of people would feel like, I don't want to burden anyone. I will
Yes.
handle it, and sometimes by so doing, the situation will worsen.
Yes, very
Yes,
true.
it
Very
will
true.
worsen. But if you had like just when you start going through something, you share, people will come to your aid or to your help, and
Yeah.
it lessens the burden or the situation. Yeah. So you talked about like where you feel. Am I going to get married? Am I going to have a family of my own? Am I going to have a career? Am I going to do this and that? Mostly there's also an adage which goes like, the ship will sink not because of the water outside, but it's
So water in the
inside.
Inside.
Yes.
So water in the
So it's what you like feed your mind.
Yeah.
And so at what point, or did you just, when you were going through, when that situation happened, you just knew that for me, I'm going to open up to family, I'll let them be my support system, or did you have to cancel yourself or what? Because especially when it has to do with sickness, you just be like, I'll just keep it to myself.
It's a process.
Mm.
It's a process, and you are right. Most of the work really has to be also on your part,
Mm-hmm.
because there are some people who have gone through maybe not exactly the same kind of experience I've had, but by virtue of their capability to cope, they give up and simply say, "This is it. This is it. My life won't amount to anything," and they condemn themselves. So a lot rests on how much knowledge we have, even just as individuals. When we see someone going through something, are we the sort of people who are quick to just sit and listen, or we judge from a distance? So those questions are something that can happen or can arise in someone's mind, even if they didn't have the sort of experience I had. Because remember, in life, we have aspirations, right? So whether you have had the challenge similar to mine or not, you have these dreams and plans that you have set out for yourself. And if they don't happen within a certain timeline or in a certain way in which you were thinking, then for sure you would be discouraged. So for me, I guess what helped was being rooted in the word. At least that's the one thing, good thing that came out of it. Even just as individuals, when we see someone going through something, are we the sort of people who are quick to just sit and listen, or we judge from a distance? So those questions are something that can happen or can arise in someone's mind, even if they didn't have the sort of experience I had. Because remember, in life, we have aspirations, right? So whether you have had the challenge similar to mine or not, you have these dreams and plans that you have set out for yourself. And if they don't have, because that's the easiest thing to say, but are you really fine? And are you able to tell when you are maybe overwhelmed or stressed and so on? So I think healing and the process of recovery also involves knowledge, getting to know yourself. What am I able to cope with? Because we cope differently. What I may be able to manage, the next person may not. What I may be able to bounce back from, the next person may not. So it's if anything good has come out of that experience, I like to believe it's now my life mission to always be sensitive to people. If I meet you and I get to understand your personality or your vibe or your energy, I will notice if something's off, and I'll ask. I'll just take a moment to say, how are you doing? How are you really, really doing? When you peel away the layers, when no one is watching, how are you really feeling? Because that's the sort of thing that people need when they have an experience of that nature, not condemnation. And sometimes when people are ignorant about stresses around mental health, they make jokes of it. Yeah, you end up at Greater East Road campus because it's something funny. And maybe it's something your immediate family member has not experienced. So if you learn to show compassion, it makes life easier for yourself and other people.
True. In case you're just joining us, you're watching Let's Talk About It with me, Pastor Pauline, and we are discussing where is the safe place for a woman when she is facing rejection, when she's facing pain, shame, guilt, and all those emotions, where is her safe place? And we've heard of awesome testimonies, and I think your lives are being transformed, because I am learning a lot, where just to listen to someone, like Jacqueline is saying, she will ask you, how are you doing? Is everything okay? When someone just asks you that question, there's a certain way that you feel, and I think we can do better by being more kind to the people that we meet. Agnes, when you were sharing about, you called your mom and your dad and they came, there's a story which I remembered.
Sure.
There was a lady whose child was unwell. No, the child was not unwell, actually.
Okay.
She was going somewhere with an older child, and had to let this older child hold the baby.
Okay.
Then started bottle feeding.
Okay.
So as she started bottle feeding the child choked. So now, as a mother, you are driving and your child has choked.
Oh.
So she lost control. Then they ended up having like an accident. Yes, because that child was not like, I think the child must have been 9 years or less.
Oh.
They now feeding the baby the bottle.
Baby.
So she just loses control, because at the back now the baby is choking and coughing and whatnot. So they ended up, being in an accident.
Yeah.
So if she thought better, she could have asked for help from an older person and whatnot, but she just figured like, it's okay, I don't want to stress anyone, so
can
let me
just
just do this.
do it
And even
myself.
in that condition where you were, the child is not okay, that you can't drive properly
No.
when a child is unwell.
No.
So like, you just thought quickly, you called on your parents who were readily available.
Available.
Yes, so that is very, very important.
Sure. And it doesn't even have to be parents at times. Even your neighbor. You can call on your neighbor to assist you, and you'll be surprised that they'll actually be readily available to assist you. They can even offer to take you with their own vehicle, and yes. Yeah, so I'm also reminded of another incident where I was off work for some time, and by then it was just my husband and I. So all of a sudden, I'm contacted that I need to go for work, and I'm in a place where I have no close family nearby that can help stay with the child. I had to call on someone from church.
Wow.
Yes, and she didn't even think about it or second guess. She just said, bring the child here.
You see?
Yes, and I took my child and I went for work. So there is help everywhere. At times, even a stranger is more willing to help you than you actually think.
And
Yes.
members sio kwangala kwa chilolo kwa.
Uh-huh.
So sometimes even friends can help a lot.
Friends can help a
Yes.
lot actually.
And
Yes.
talking of support system, you talked about how you came out of the issue. I was just sharing, I think, with someone to say there's a certain person I knew, and then that person had sugar diabetes,
Right.
so they ended up amputating one leg.
Yeah.
The person died within 3 months.
Wow.
Yes, just after the amputation. And then, they cut the toe, then they said, no, we need to cut from the knee here.
Yeah.
And then the person died. So I'm just thinking that, sometimes when we have support system, we can live longer.
True.
I've seen people who are double amputees,
True.
and they're still alive.
Still alive, yes.
So they have gone through counseling, they have a strong support system, and they have opened up. I think I was asking to say, did you just decide? And then you said it took time. So however long it takes, I think the support system can make the difference in the world when we are going through issues. And so, maybe, would you have recommendations? Yes, I know she's talked about neighbors. You've also talked about church, people who can be of help, and then we come out of situations, and sometimes, who we're saying, situations have been experienced by other people who have pulled through. Yeah. So any recommendations to the viewers out there?
So, first of all, I really would like to commend Agnes for the steps she took, you know, to reach out to people who were closest to her, you know. And it's true in terms of us having help from so many different angles. There's no lack of support that you can find. My first recommendation it would be to strengthen your relationships with people, keeping in touch, checking on each other on the regular, because sometimes you may feel this friend doesn't speak to me, doesn't call, doesn't text, we've lost touch. They're also going through things. Each and every one of us, actually viewers out there, each and every one of us is experiencing something. So the kindness has to be spread, the kindness has to be shared, because you never know what someone is experiencing. And that's all the more reason why we need to strengthen our connections with each other, genuine connections, not in a way of keeping in touch with people just because you want them to do something for you, because people can pick that you're trying to take advantage. So that's the first recommendation. Just strengthen your relationships. You never know when you might need someone. Sometimes we go through our phone book and you find numbers you haven't called. Do a call. Do a call. Do a call. Do a call. I'm speaking
I'm
speaking
right
to myself
now.
as well. Do a call. Just find out where your friend is, where they're at, and check in.
I feel so
Because
guilty right now.
you never know what someone is going through,
Yeah.
and how that particular person you're reaching to may be your lifeline.
Sure.
And I'd also like to recommend making use of the health facilities that we do have. We have health facilities, and there are professional people that are on staff there. I know sometimes there's a negative connotation even for public hospitals and public clinics, but you'll be surprised at how well staffed they are, and how departments are available even for things that are sensitive. I remember as we were beginning the program, you were hinting to how HIV can affect a person, or they can be infected. Facilities are there. There's no shame. And if anything, when you have information and when you are knowledgeable and you plug into the services that are there, you live longer, you know, because options are there. So I highly recommend making use of our health facilities. You have members of staff there who will counsel you, who will know how best to serve you, because sometimes it's just not knowing, and you keep carrying this burden on your own. I also like to recommend plugging into fellowship, right? Make a church your home. Find a church.
Local church.
Find a local church and plug in. And I'm not saying plugging in so that you can just show up and warm the seats, but participate, because you will find that there are programs that are available for women who are in different categories, whether you are a single woman, whether you are a young mother, whether you are in your golden years or a golden mother. I like to believe that there are programs within the church community that can cater to your needs. Fellowship, we really, really need that. Those would be my strongest recommendations.
Agnes, would you like to add?
Sure. Thank you.
I feel so guilty right now.
Yes, I'd actually tried doing that, and you'll be amazed at what your friends are actually going through. Yes, so yeah, you may be going through things as well, but it's also good to reach out. And what I've come to realize is, as you're encouraging a friend out there, you're actually also encouraging
Yes,
yourself.
very true. Yeah.
Yes, and you actually feel better and lighter after that conversation. Yes, I'm guilty about government hospitals.
Okay, you know, for me, it's not just government hospital. When I'm unwell, you mention hospital, I just feel like, why are you fighting me?
Yeah.
Why are you being mean to me? Just mention hospital, I feel like you're being mean to me.
Yes.
And the other thing is, like, when going through issues, I love to isolate.
Uh-huh.
And I know that I'm not the only one. So this is just going tweet
Into your heart.
into the heart. And you know, like, before we go, what is the one thing you wish you could tell your younger self when you were going through moments?
So to my younger self, I would say, you're enough as you are. I think that's when the realization struck me. I stopped comparing myself to other people. I stopped mourning my losses of time and connection and career path and goals. I embraced where I was, and God has been good to me. At least that is something I really need to put out there. God has been good to me. He has been gracious to me. He's been able to help me rebuild. And every experience I've had, I'm now able to look back and say it's for a purpose. I was meant to be where I am at this particular point, at this particular place, walking this particular path, because that was his ultimate plan. Remember, we don't know how our outcome of life would be. One of my favorite verses is that he knows the end of a matter before it has begun. I think I'm paraphrasing, but ultimately,
the beginning from the end.
Exactly.
Yes.
He knows how your life story will end, and that's always a joy, and it's a reassurance. It's a reassurance that there's never a point where you are alone, or your life has no value, or your life cannot be rebuilt. He can do it. He will do it, and you need to just lean on his strong arm to rebuild you.
Awesome. What
Amazing.
did you tell your younger self?
Yes.
You're still young anyway. So
Oh,
what
yeah.
are you?
Just maybe to a college student out there, I love the fact that she said,
Ready for the most anticipated talk show of the year.
Let's talk about it with Pastor Pauline. So we have been discussing foundations upon which most of the relationships are built.
Join us as we tackle the toughest social issues affecting our community, from child marriages to youth empowerment, and from gender-based violence to women empowerment, from governance to corruption, and, of course, women participation in politics, and other male-dominated industries. We will be discussing it all.
Leah, confessed it in Genesis chapter 29, verse 32. She says, God has opened my womb because he has seen my affliction. But despite that, Jacob did not love her.
Our presenter will guide the conversation, ensuring that you have a respectful and thought-provoking discussion. And you have a chance to join in on the conversation through our phone-in segment. Call us live. Share your thoughts